All right, avoid these 8 retirement planning mistakes. Now, well, there could be more than 8, could be 9, could be 10, could be 11, or 12, or 15. Let's just stick with 8. Hey, what is up? Thanks for stopping by, taking your time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. My name's Keith Wilson. I am a practicing financial advisor here to hopefully spread a little bit of wealth of information, helping folks along their personal finance journey. So, as a financial advisor, during my career, I have seen people, they thoroughly enjoy their retirement to the fullest and doing the things they wanted to do and dreamed of. But on the flip side, I have also seen people struggle through retirement, just barely making it. So the difference came down to avoiding mistakes that could derail your retirement goals. So let's take a look at 8 mistakes to avoid. Now, really, there are more mistakes than 8 to avoid, but let's just stick with these, okay? So here we go. If you don't have a plan to start with, you won't know what to expect in retirement, and a retirement plan should be implemented early on, when you're first starting out in your career. So it's really just a map of where you are going, what it's going to take to pursue your goals, how much you need to save to generate the income you need in retirement. So a solid retirement plan should address taxes in retirement, income planning, and addressing your goals of, hey, what do you want to do in retirement? So without a plan, you are basically flying by the seat of your pants and taking the, man, I hope everything works out. So part of your retirement plan should include having your retirement savings in, different types of accounts. And this is really all about the taxes when it comes down to this. So most people just think of a 401k as the sole place to save for retirement, but I'm a big believer in having a 3-prong approach or 3 buckets to your retirement dollars. The first bucket would be the tax-deferred account, like a 401k, IRA, or other retirement account at work. Here, you want to contribute at least the company match, because that's free money, folks. Money put into this bucket gives you a tax deduction while you're still working. It grows tax deferred, but when it's time to pull that money out, it is taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. And that's why consider having another bucket, the tax-free bucket. This would be the Roth IRA or Roth 401k. Now, you won't get the tax deduction, but when money comes out, it's tax-free as long as, you got to meet some certain conditions. Also, HSA accounts could be in this second bucket. Now, the third bucket is the taxable account. This would be non-retirement accounts. They're investment accounts, like a brokerage account. Now, the reason for this bucket is taxes paid would be in the form of capital gains taxes, which, for most people, it's 15%. These 3 buckets will come in handy when the time comes to start receiving income in retirement. Now, as you are approaching retirement, consider having money saved in cash to cover the first year or so you will need in income. And the reason is that who knows what your investments will do that first year. If you retire during a recession or a major pullback and you are withdrawing money at the same time, it could derail your long-term goals, and money quite possibly could run out. So by having the money in cash and not touching the portfolio, it could, have time to recover in the event of retiring during a bear market. All right, so now the time has come. You're retired and you got to pull money from your investments to supplement your income to maintain the lifestyle you desire. But which account do you pull from first? Remember the 3 buckets? So which bucket do we pull from first? And here's the thing. Generally, the sequence would be to withdraw from your taxable account first, then the tax deferred, like your 401k or IRA, then lastly, pull from the Roth IRAs. Now, by doing this, you are giving time for your tax advantage plans like IRAs and Roth IRAs more time to grow and compound. Then, when required minimum distributions hit, currently that's at age 72, the traditional IRAs would be next. Roth IRAs should be last because they are growing tax-free, and you should give them more time to compound and, grow potentially. However, it's never as easy as, 1, 2, 3. We have to keep in mind how much you have in each of these buckets, what amount you will need, and your current income tax bracket. So, this could be different for you. That's why with a retirement plan, it could address this. Now, Social Security. You can start withdrawing Social Security benefits at age 62, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. Now, by delaying Social Security to full retirement age, and for most people today, that's at age 67, your benefit's going to be higher. And by waiting to age 70, it would even be higher. Now, here's the thing with Social Security. There really is no right or wrong answer to when to pull Social Security benefit. It depends on the plan that was laid out for you. And for some, it makes the most sense to take it at age 67 or 70, while others, perhaps, taking it early makes more sense. But what we have to do, we have to take into account survivorship benefits and those needs. Is there enough money to live on by waiting? And the spousal benefits. But there are certain situations where it may not make sense to take it early. For example, in 2022, if you collect benefits before full retirement and continue to work, the Social Security Administration, what they're going to do is they're going to withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn over $19,560. That's why we go back to mistake number 1, which is not having a plan to account for this. All right, so consider being debt-free when in retirement, which includes, in my opinion, the mortgage. The idea is you want to free up as much cash flow as you can so you can enjoy the things you want to do in retirement without, being encumbered with all this debt. So consider being aggressive while you are in your peak earning years to get that debt paid off before retirement. All right, healthcare costs in retirement. This would include Medicare Part B and Medicare Part D, premiums, all those premiums, as well as copays, deductibles, and prescription drugs. But it does not include long-term care costs. So if you have not factored these costs in your retirement plan, you could end up changing the way you envision retirement, or worse, run the risk of running out of money. So consider funding an HSA account during your working years. Now, while you can no longer contribute to that HSA account once you go on Medicare, any amounts that are in your HSA account, hey, they can be used to cover those medical expenses in retirement. All right, if you have many years to go before you're retired, consider, being aggressive. And even if you have some bad years thrown in there, you have possibly many years to go to make that up. So being too conservative, you could miss the mark of your goals. Now, on the flip side, however, try to avoid chasing all those hot tips and the stock of the day. So consider having a solid strategy of knowing what you own and why you own it, instead of getting into something that can, it could flip on a dime. Once in retirement doesn't mean that you have to be super conservative with your investments, holding, everything in cash. That may not even outpace inflation, let alone have room for growth. So remember, if you retire at 65, you could have, 30 years or more to go, and that's a long time. So consider having a balanced approach with your investments between growth and income. Now, on the flip side, even if you have a high tolerance for risk, doesn't necessarily mean you have the risk capacity. So, for example, what I'm saying is, if you're withdrawing money from your portfolio to supplement income, and it's in a high-risk category, then during a market correction or a recession, it could put a burden on that portfolio, and that could take years to recover. So there again, think about having a balanced approach. So you know what? Really, it all comes down to having a retirement plan in place that accounts for all of these issues and gives you a blueprint that is specific to your goals and your needs.
Anybody tell you it's gone way too far? No, nothing gonna help you when it falls apart.